3 hours before my wedding, Dad texted, "I can't walk you down the aisle. Marissa's event is too important to miss." Then I discovered the shocking truth about what my sister had been planning all along. My hands shook as I stared at my phone screen, wedding dress pooling around me like spilled milk. The bridal suite at the Harborview Estate, a venue that cost us $18,000 for the day, suddenly felt suffocating. My bridesmaids froze mid-preparation, mascara wands suspended in air. But here's the thing about crisis moments. They either break you or activate something strategic inside you. As a senior software engineer at Microsoft making $165,000 annually, I'd learned to compartmentalize problems and find solutions. This betrayal was about to get the full analytical treatment. "Jessica," I said, voice steadier than I felt, "show me those texts from Marissa again, the ones you accidentally received." Jessica hesitated, then pulled up her phone. The messages were damning. "Don't worry, I know how to keep Dad to myself on wedding day. Already working on it." Sent 3 weeks ago, right when Dad started making excuses. I spent the next 20 minutes documenting everything. Screenshots, timestamps, even a voice memo of my reaction. My tech background had taught me that evidence is everything. I had a feeling I was going to need every piece of proof I could gather. Uncle Martin arrived within the hour and the wedding went forward beautifully. But that night, in my honeymoon suite at the Four Seasons, I started building what I now call my family accountability file. Let me explain how I got here. When Mom died 17 years ago in 2007, she left a life insurance policy worth $250,000 and a small investment account valued at $75,000. Dad was supposed to split everything equally between Marissa and me when we each turned 25. Marissa got her $162,500 right on schedule 3 years ago when she turned 25 in 2021. Mine was supposed to come next month on my 25th birthday in January 2025, but there had been delays. Market fluctuations, Dad claimed. Legal complications with the estate. All convenient excuses that I'd accepted because I trusted him. Now I was starting to connect dots I should have seen years ago. During our 2-week honeymoon in Tuscany, I spent mornings researching and evenings with my new husband. I called our family attorney, Mr. Brennan, who'd handled Mom's estate. I had to use international calling since we were in Italy, but I needed answers immediately. "Ariana," his voice was careful when I reached him at his Seattle office, "your father liquidated your mother's investment account 18 months ago in March 2023. He said you'd requested early disbursement for wedding expenses. I'd never made such a request. The money, now worth over $95,000 with investment growth, was gone, transferred to an account I'd never seen. When Ethan and I returned from our honeymoon to our Seattle apartment, I hired Jennifer Walsh, a forensic accountant who specialized in family financial disputes. Her retainer was $5,000, but I knew it would be worth every penny. I found her through the Washington State Bar Association's referral service. Jennifer's investigation revealed a pattern spanning 5 years. Dad had been systematically redirecting money meant for me to Marissa. The original inheritance was just the beginning. Your sister has received approximately $230,000 in funds that should have been split between you both, Jennifer explained during our meeting in her downtown Seattle office 2 weeks after I returned from Italy. This includes the insurance money, investment account, and several loans your father made to her using funds from your mother's estate that were designated for both children. The spreadsheet Jennifer created was devastating. Marissa had used the money to buy a $180,000 condo in Portland, purchased just 6 months after receiving her share of the inheritance in August 2021. The down payment alone was $45,000, money that should have been split between us. But here's where it gets interesting. My tech salary meant I didn't need that inheritance to survive. But Marissa had built her entire financial life around money that wasn't entirely hers. She worked part-time as a yoga instructor, making maybe $28,000 annually, living in a condo she couldn't actually afford on her real income. I decided to take a systematic approach. First, I needed more evidence of the wedding sabotage to establish a pattern of manipulation. I reached out to Dad's assistant, Linda, who'd worked for his accounting firm for 12 years. I contacted her through the firm's main number, explaining I was Dad's daughter and needed to discuss some family scheduling issues. "Your sister calls the office constantly," Linda confided during our coffee meeting at a Starbucks near Dad's office in Bellevue. "She manages his calendar, tells us which family events are important and which ones he can skip. Honestly, Ariana, we all thought it was strange, but she said she was helping coordinate his schedule." Linda provided email evidence showing Marissa had contacted Dad's office the morning of my wedding, claiming there was a family emergency that required his immediate attention. The emergency? Her celebration drinks had been moved up due to venue availability. I spent 2 weeks building a comprehensive case file, bank records showing the suspicious money transfers, email trails documenting Marissa's manipulation of Dad's schedule, phone logs proving she'd intercepted several important calls meant for me over the years, including the one from MIT about my scholarship ceremony 4 years ago. My lawyer, David Kim, specialized in estate fraud and family financial abuse. I found him through Jennifer's recommendation. His consultation fee was $400 per hour, but his analysis was worth it. "You have grounds for both civil action against your sister for fraud and a separate case against your father for breach of fiduciary duty as a state executor," David explained during our meeting at his downtown Seattle office. "The wedding sabotage establishes a pattern of intentional interference with your relationship and your rightful inheritance." The numbers were staggering. With compound interest and growth calculations, Marissa owed me approximately $127,500 in misappropriated funds. Dad's mismanagement of the estate added another $35,000 in penalties and lost investment opportunities. But I wanted to give them one chance to make it right voluntarily. 3 months after my wedding in March 2025, I arranged a family dinner at Dad's house in Kirkland. I drove there from my Seattle apartment, bringing printed copies of everything. Bank records, email trails, Jennifer's forensic analysis, even the text messages Jessica had received by mistake. "I know what you both have been doing," I said, sliding the documentation across the dining table. "The question is whether we handle this privately or whether I need to involve the courts." The silence lasted 30 seconds before Marissa exploded. "You always get everything, the wedding attention, the successful career. Now you want money too?" "I want my money," I corrected. "The money Mom left for both of us that you've been taking for years." Dad tried to mediate, but the evidence was overwhelming. Bank transfers don't lie. Email timestamps are facts. Jennifer's forensic analysis showed systematic financial manipulation dating back years. Marissa's defense crumbled when I produced her social media posts showing the condo purchase, the new car lease, and vacation photos, all funded by money that wasn't entirely hers. "You have 30 days, I told them both. Full repayment of $162,500 with interest, or I file both civil and criminal charges. Wire fraud is a federal offense, and Dad, your CPA license could be revoked for estate mismanagement." The threat of professional consequences got Dad's attention immediately. His accounting practice generated about $200,000 annually, and losing his license would destroy everything he'd built over 25 years. Marissa tried calling Dad constantly over the next week, but I'd learned to play the game better than her. I'd provided him with a detailed payment schedule and legal timeline. Every conversation they had was now about solving the problem, not manipulating emotions. 2 weeks later, in early April 2025, Dad liquidated some of his retirement investments to cover the missing inheritance funds. The wire transfer of $98,750 hit my account on a Tuesday morning. Marissa, facing the reality of potential federal charges, took out a second mortgage on her Portland condo to cover her portion, $63,750. The most satisfying part? I used Jennifer's documentation strategy for everything. Every phone call logged with timestamps, every email saved and categorized, every financial transaction tracked in a master spreadsheet that would make any auditor proud. 6 months after my wedding, in June 2025, I received a call from Linda at Dad's office. "Your sister stopped calling here," she said. "For the first time in years, your father is managing his own schedule. Dad and I have slowly rebuilt our relationship, but it's on new terms. He shows up when he commits to something because he knows I document everything. Trust, but verify. Just like Mom always said about important business decisions." Marissa moved to Florida after selling her Portland condo in August 2025. Without the steady stream of family money, she couldn't maintain the lifestyle she'd built. Her new apartment in Tampa costs $1,200 monthly, about what someone making $28,000 annually can actually afford. The lesson here isn't about family drama. It's about strategic documentation and professional accountability. When someone's manipulating family finances, emotional appeals don't work. Legal consequences and professional reputations do. The $5,000 I spent on Jennifer's forensic accounting services returned over 30 times that amount in recovered funds. David Kim's legal fees totaled $3,200. But the threat of professional action resolved everything without going to court. Today, Ethan and I are expecting our first child, and her inheritance is already protected in a trust that only I control. Our daughter will know what family loyalty means, but she'll also understand the importance of documentation, professional verification, and strategic thinking. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop enabling manipulation and start requiring accountability. When family members face real-world consequences for their choices, they either change their behavior or remove themselves from your life. Either outcome protects your future. The wedding Marissa tried to sabotage became the foundation for teaching both her and Dad that strategic thinking beats emotional manipulation every single time. Some lessons cost $162,500 to learn, but they're invaluable once you understand them. As for Ethan and me, we're stronger than ever. He supported every decision I made during this process, and our marriage has only grown deeper through navigating this challenge together. We've learned that real family isn't just about blood. It's about who stands by you when everything falls apart and helps you rebuild something better.